What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 19, Episode 11. I'm done. So, Episode 11 starts where Episode 10 ended, which was at the last dinner that the couples were having at the couples retreat. And we're at the part now where Will was explaining to the group that when Britney asked him if they had a connection, and he said, yes, we do, but it could be stronger, and how Britney took that the wrong way, or she took it however way she took it. It created friction in their relationship because everybody at the table, well, when I say everybody, Jaylen and Megan had said that when Will said our connection could be stronger, any woman would have taken that as we are not connecting or we have a very weak connection. And Britney is trying to grasp at straws, trying to find anything she can to let her know that they're meant to be together, that they're both are going to say yes on decision day because Will is not giving her the answers that she's looking for. So when she asks, do you feel like we have a connection? That's her trying to pick up some clues on how he feels about her. But when he said yes, but it could be stronger, it's either very confusing or he's making it very clear that he doesn't think he has a strong enough connection with her to want to say yes on decision day. So that's how she took it. And Jaylen and Megan, they co-signed that as well. They're like, you said the wrong thing. Anybody would have taken that in the wrong way. Why didn't you just say, yes, we have a connection and just leave it at that? So Britney got overwhelmed. She gets up, she leaves, she's going into the bathroom. Megan follows her. Megan tries to talk to her. After that, Megan comes back to the table and tells Will to go see about Britney. So Will gets up and he goes to talk to her in the bathroom. Oh, by the way, when Megan was talking to Britney in the bathroom, we don't see them, but we hear them. Britney tells Megan that this whole thing is stupid and that she was done. Basically, I'm assuming done with Will. So when Megan left and Will came to talk to her, he tells her that he's happy to be there. He's happy to be there with her. He tells her that she's beautiful. So he's trying to say all of these things to reassure her that they're good. He's happy to be with her. He wants to be with her. He is in this. He's all in and he has no doubts. And this is where he wants to be. And it did help. She did start feeling a little bit better. So when everybody got together in the living room to have game night, I guess you could say, Britney really wasn't in the mood, but she did put on a poker face, and she went through the motions of playing the games. And basically, the games were just all of them asking each other spicy questions. So moving on from there, later on, Britney and Will, they're in their bedroom and they're talking, and Will tells her that he knows what he has to do now. He's kind of clear on what he has to do to reassure her that he's really in this and that he doesn't have any issues with her and he wants to be with her. So they both say that they choose each other. Okay. And it seems like everything is on the up and up as far as where they're at the retreat. So later on, they're back home, and Britney says that her and Will, their connection is getting stronger. Okay. And we see them on the couch. They're talking. Everything seems to be copacetic. They're on the same page. And they even have like a tickle fight. Later on, they celebrate Will's birthday, and Britney had reached out to Will's mother. And so now they're having like a little dinner. And the mom says that William, she calls him William, she says William is a very private person. He doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve. And she also says that you will not know what he's feeling all the time. He doesn't really express himself a lot, doesn't really express what he's thinking or what he's feeling all the time. So his mother says that right now they're still in the learning stages. They're still trying to figure each other out. And the mom says that Will needs someone to make him feel comfortable enough to express his feelings. And I think that will come naturally. Okay. I don't think that she constantly has to ask him, how are you feeling about this? How are you feeling about that? I think just, when they're living life together, he will realize what she needs from him. And she doesn't, and I understand that there's a time crunch, that D-Day, the decision day is coming up soon. They have like less than 2 weeks. So I understand that you're trying to get as much information as possible so that you know what type of decision that you need to make on that day. And other couples are probably reassuring themselves or reassuring each other. You're going to say yes. Okay. You're going to say yes. I'm going to say yes too. But with Will and Britney, it's like kind of in limbo because Britney is not hearing what she needs to hear from Will. And I don't know what Will's issue is. I don't know if he's just, this is just how he is. Like in his mind, he knows he's going to say yes, but he's like, I don't want to verbalize it because I might change my mind tomorrow. Or if he's also still trying to figure it out, like if he's still trying to understand how he really feels about her and what I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe up until now, he's like, I would definitely say yes. If I had to say it today, if decision day was today, I would say yes. But then maybe something is coming up in the future where she's going to piss him off. And then he ends up saying, no, I really don't know what's going on. But it looks like they're on the same page. It looks like he does like her and that he is developing feelings for her. And I want her just to bask in that. I don't want her to start over analyzing everything and being, really like in her head about, okay, what does it mean when he says this? And what does it mean when he does that? I just want her to be in the moment and just enjoy each other as much as you can. I really wish that the people on this show had the confidence to not talk to each other at all about what they're going to see on decision day and just date. I know they're married, but they don't know each other. And dating is the process of getting to know someone to figure out if there is a romantic connection there to proceed further. So they're basically dating. They're married couples that are dating. And I wish that they would just be in that moment, whatever that moment is, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, just be in the moment and not talk about, well, what are you going to say on decision day? What are you going to say on decision day? Just be in the damn moment. And I feel like that they are so worried about being embarrassed if they were to say yes and their partner says no, and they want to avoid that. And so they want to be prepared. And I think that just really kills everything. If they were just confident in who they were and just be in the moment and then say whatever your heart leads you to say on decision day. And hopefully it's the same thing that the other person says. I think it's a beautiful thing if they both say yes and they didn't know that they were going to say yes. I think that's a wonderful thing. Instead of knowing that they planned what they're going to decide and then they decide and then they say that they basically recite whatever they plan to recite on decision day. I really don't like that. But I guess people are so worried and afraid of being embarrassed and humiliated on TV that they want to make sure that they say the same thing, I guess. I don't know. But Will isn't going to give her, it seems like Will doesn't want to give Britney that. He is really playing it by ear, taking it day by day, whereas Britney has already made up in her mind that she wants to be with him and she wants to make sure that he wants to be with her as well. I don't know. Okay, so the mom says that y'all are just learning each other right now, that he needs to be with someone who makes it comfortable for him to express himself. And then Will, in his confessional, he tells us that it means a lot to him that Britney reached out to his mom to plan a very small and intimate birthday celebration for him because he doesn't want to do the big birthday thing, the parties and a whole bunch of people coming over. He doesn't want to do that. That's not his thing. So he was really appreciative that Britney planned something small and intimate with his mom. And like I said, up until now, it seems like Will is really developing feelings for her. And I hope that she sees that, but she can only see it if he verbalizes it, if he tells her. So then much later on, we see the home security camera. And every time that we see footage from their security cam, I get worried. I get really worried because production isn't there. This is the real deal Holyfield. This is raw footage of what life is really like for these people. So they're on the couch and it looks like Will is getting ready to go somewhere. He's putting on his shoes. He has his jacket on and Brittany's telling him that she's going to miss him. And then he tells her, I'm going to miss you too. So obviously he's about to leave. I don't know if he's taking another trip for work or what's going on. And she starts off like she's trying to say something very deep and profound, but then she kind of stops herself and says that, I really want to be with you forever. And she says that, and then she also says, I love you. And he goes, so you're going to give me a kiss now? And then she gets on top of him and they start kissing. And I know that she expected him to say, I love you too, because things have been going so great. But I think also that this is sort of like manipulative tactic on Britney's side. I think that the reason why because it seems like wherever he was going, it wasn't like he was going to be gone for long. Okay. Either it's one of his regular work trips that he has to take where he's going to be gone a couple of days, or I don't know, he's going to be gone for a few hours and come back. It wasn't that crucial, right? But the way she was talking, it's as if he's going to be going on this super long trip and she's going to be without him for like weeks. And I think that she was testing him again to see, where is he? How does he feel about me? And so when she said, I love you, and he didn't say it back, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a problem in episode 12. I think it's going to be, I don't think she was saying, I love you for the sake of saying, I love you, like to let him know this is how I'm feeling about you. I think she said, I love you because she was testing him to see if he was going to say it back. And because he failed the Britney test, I think it's going to get kind of ugly in episode 12. I hope not. I'm really hoping not. I hope she's not going to make a big deal about it. Because remember, Derek didn't say, I love you too either to Megan when she first said it to him. He didn't reciprocate, and look where they're at now. So I hope she's not going to make a big deal about it. I hope she's not going to start crying about it. But I could tell that she was testing him to gauge exactly where is he now with me? Where does he stand? Will he say I love you back? Does he love me? And it was just a test. And unfortunately, he failed it miserably. Okay, so let's move on to Belinda and Chad. So the last night at the retreat, they're winding down. They're in bed, and Belinda likes closeness. At the end of the day, getting ready for bed, we're winding down. She likes the intimacy. She likes the closeness. Like she wants her man to be with her on the couch or in the bed. She wants to be close. And he doesn't, I guess. She talks about how at the end of the day, when we're winding down, you're like here, you're there, you're everywhere but next to me. And I prefer for my partner to be like right next to me when we end the day. And I guess Chad likes his own space. And then he also talks about how he doesn't like the dog in the bed with them. And he goes, it's not you. Okay, this is nothing against you. It's against the dog, but this is her dog, and she's allowing the dog to be in the bed, so it is about her. So Chad is also struggling with production being there because while they're in the bed together, obviously production is they're filming, and he doesn't like it. Which is weird because he signed up for a reality TV show, but he has a problem with production being there, recording him or filming him. And he says that whatever's going on right now on the show, to him, it's not real life. And that real life for them will begin after the show is over and they're completely done filming and it's just them without production. That's when the real life is going to really start for him and Belinda. Belinda is like, this is real life right now as far as I'm concerned. So later on, we see Belinda. She's FaceTiming her daughter, Jaylen. And evidently, there was some type of misunderstanding or mix-up with the filming schedule. Chad thought that they were not going to be filming on a particular day, but they ended up needing to film on that day. So Chad was pissed the hell off. He was pissed off. So he was texting the producers about his frustration. And while he was texting them, now this is what Belinda is telling her daughter Jaylen on FaceTime. So while Chad was texting production about how frustrated he was or how upset he was that they ended up having to film on a day that he thought was going to be their off day, he's referring to him and Belinda being frustrated about it all. And so Belinda was telling him, look, I don't have an issue with whatever's going on here with production. Whether we film or don't film, if there's a mix-up or confusion with the schedule, I don't care. I don't mind. So don't include me in your tirade. Don't include me in your frustration because I don't have an issue with it. So it seems like when Chad is uncomfortable with something, he gets extremely grumpy and very mean and rude. And so she really doesn't know how she's going to handle this, which is weird to me that Chad is acting like this when he's the one that signed up for all of this. You signed up for a reality TV show. Like, what the hell did you think was going to happen? So they're out having sushi, and Chad says that he's at the end of his rope with this BS. He says that he is done with this effing show. Okay. And Belinda is like, Okay, you're so upset with production, but we met. You claim that I'm the love of your life. You claim that I'm the best thing that's ever happened to you. Well, I came into your life because of this show. We met and got married because of this show that you're so pissed off at. So what the hell went wrong? What happened? And Chad said nothing happened, nothing went wrong. I'm just tired of the BS. I'm done being talked to like I'm a goddamn child. I'm a Vietnam. I don't know if he's Vietnam. He says I'm a combat vet. So basically, what he's saying is the fact that production has to produce the show and direct him on what to do, what to say, where to stand. He's upset with that, being told what to do. Okay, this isn't YouTube. Okay, you're not running the show here. This isn't YouTube, TikTok, or your own social media. This is a production. This is a television show. There are directors, or are producers, or are editors, and you have to listen to them. This is their show that you signed up for once again, and they accepted you. And I'm pretty sure you had to sign a ton of contracts about how things were going to go. And I'm pretty sure that somewhere in that contract, it says that filming can be unpredictable. The schedule can be unpredictable. So just be aware. We understand that y'all are still holding down jobs, etc. Just be aware that the schedule can change at the last minute and things can be, I know that's in their contract. So him being frustrated and talking about, I don't want to be talked to like I'm a child. They're directing you because you're on a TV show. So then they show us a montage of Chad of being really, really grumpy with production and bumping heads with production, where he's like telling them off, right? In different scenarios and different scenes. He's like really frustrated with them. And he says that he's accustomed to being in charge. Chad, you're not a director or a producer. Okay, you're talent. Do you understand how reality TV works, old man? Do you not understand how reality TV works? Now, Chad does not seem like someone who watches a whole lot of reality TV, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if he has never seen a single episode of the show that he's on. I would not be surprised because he doesn't seem like someone who sits back and watches The Real Housewives of Atlanta or Below Deck or Vanderpump Rules. I don't think he watches any of that stuff. I don't think he knows what's going on. I don't even know. I don't know if he thought he was signing up for a dating site. Like this is some form of Tinder. I don't know what he thinks is going on here. This is a television show and it has to be produced, and you're going to be told what to do by the director and the producers. You're going to be told what to do and how to do it because they have to get a show together. It's not like they just showed up at his doorstep and began recording his life and he's got the right to tell them what to do. He signed up for their show. He tells Belinda he's tired of rearranging his schedule for them. So like when they do these last minute changes, it messes up what he's got going on at work. And so he has to rearrange his work schedule, whatever he has to do at work to accommodate the show. And that's what's pissing him off. I don't know if he's losing money at work because of this show. Then I can understand the frustration. If he was supposed to be there for a meeting or something or show up at the work site and he couldn't because they needed him to film and he lost money, lost clients, lost contracts, that I can understand. But he needs to express that that's the reason why he's frustrated, not just because he's being told what to do on a television show. So Chad says he's giving them one more chance. And if they change the schedule on him again, he goes, we're done. We're done. If they do this again, if they change the schedule at the last minute, we're done. And Belinda needs clarification. She's like, what do you mean we're done? Because I'm not going to be done. I don't care if they change the schedule on us. It doesn't matter to me. I'm having a grand old time. I'm having a good time here. So don't lump me in your situation. Okay. I don't have an issue with this. So if you're done, great, whatever, Godspeed, but I'm still going to be here. I'm not going to be done. And then he says something like, well, I'm not going to continue to, I guess he was trying to say, okay, fine. I'm not going to include you anymore. I'm not going to lump you with me. Okay, fine, whatever. So then he says that this show, all they're here to do is to create wedges in relationships, to create a wedge in relationships. And she was like, you're telling me that the show brought us together just to create a wedge between us? And then he says, not between us. We're fine. Me and you, we're fine. We're good. But they're creating a wedge between Josh and Jaylen. And so then Belinda was like, huh? I think Josh and Jaylen are doing just fine. And then Chad says, well, not according to Josh, not from what he's told me, because he's telling me something different. So Belinda's confused. And she's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get this squared away. So Belinda tells us in her confessional that his reaction to all of this is very concerning for her, and that it makes her want to take a step back from him altogether. Later on, we see Belinda at Jaylen's apartment. So she goes to visit her daughter. She brings up the whole issue with Chad and how Chad had said that the show was purposely creating a wedge between her and Josh. And Jaylen was like, what are you talking about? So Jaylen explains exactly what happened. I guess whatever Chad was referring to. And so she talks about this incident where Chad had texted Josh and wanted to go do archery with him. And Josh couldn't do it. His schedule was too busy. So that was it. Jaylen goes, that was it. That was the extent of them messaging each other. Chad wanted to hang out. Josh couldn't. Finito. That was it. Nothing else happened after that. And so Belinda was not confused. Like, well, why would Chad want to say that the show is creating a wedge between y'all? And then Jaylen says, I don't know. It was a very unnecessary lie. And we know that Jaylen knows what she's talking about when she calls something an unnecessary lie, because she's living with a liar, a pathological liar. So she totally can point out whenever an unnecessary lie occurs. And so she tells her mom, oh, I'm an expert on that, Mom. That was an unnecessary lie. I don't know why he had to lie about that. So now Belinda is really perplexed as far as why Chad would say that. I think the reason why Chad told her that, I think Chad wants to turn Belinda against production so that when he decides to make an exit, she can go along with him. I think that's what's going on here. I think that's what it is. But to believe Jaylen and Josh, to believe that whatever Chad said happened didn't happen, if you're going to believe Jaylen and Josh, which I'm pretty sure they're telling the truth, that the text message was just Chad wanting to hang out and Josh not being able to. And I think that was it. I really do believe that. But it makes Chad look mentally unstable. So I don't know if he's going through some type of PTSD, or I don't know what's going on here, that's putting him on edge. And, the feeling of not being in control is really freaking him out. So I don't know if this is, PTSD from being in the war or what's going on with him. But Belinda has every right to be concerned. And yeah, this is not good. You don't want to live with someone who's going to react like this because they feel like they don't have any control over a particular situation. It's kind of scary because it's like everybody else understands that when it comes to production, you just have to go with the flow. And that's just part of the process. It's just part of doing the show. So him freaking out because schedules are changing and he's being told what to do, it's really weird and it's scary and it's concerning. And she has every right to be concerned. So I don't know. I don't know. I always say, to me, the solution is always therapy, because I don't think we can fix things on our own because we don't realize that there's something wrong with us. I don't think Chad realizes there's something wrong with him. So somebody needs to suggest to him to go to therapy to try to deal with it. She needs to point it out to him. It seems like you have an issue where you're not in control. And that scares me. And if he loves her the way he claims that he loves her, because, I don't believe anybody on this show really loves each other. They throw that love word around like it's nothing. So I don't really believe anybody here truly is in love with the other person. But if he says he loves her, and if he really does love Belinda, if she were to suggest him getting help for his anger management, if he loves her, he'll do it. Let's move on to, we talked about Will and Britney, Belinda and Chad. Let's talk about Derek and Megan. So Derek and Megan, they're out to eat and they're talking about their little bundle of joy. And this is the funny part to me. Your girl Megan was so proud of herself that she was able to fool everybody at the retreat, that she was able to hide her pregnancy. And I'm like, girl, you're literally seconds pregnant. Okay, you can barely say weeks. You're definitely not months. You're seconds pregnant. And here you are thinking that you pulled the biggest heist in history by hiding your, 1/10 of a centimeter baby. Okay, like what the hell? No one. I really fooled them, didn't I? No one could tell that I was pregnant because I was drinking fake wine. And girl, you could have been chugging an entire thing of tequila. It wouldn't have mattered because nobody thought that you were pregnant. Nobody. Your stomach is as flat as an ironing board. Like, what are you talking about? You weren't fooling anybody. She's acting like she had to put on like a big old overcoat and walk around with an oversized bag, and that she was really fooling people. Girl, you weren't fooling nobody. Girl, anyways, let's let her have it. Let's let Megan have that. She was happy. She was really proud of herself that she fooled everybody and was able to hide her pregnancy. So they're talking about whether or not they want to know the gender before the baby's born, and they both do want to know ASAP. They want to know the gender immediately because they're both planners. Um, she didn't even have a food baby. Okay, she didn't even have a food baby at that retreat. So Derek is so supportive. It's cute to see Derek get excited about this, and it is refreshing to see Megan not freaking out about something. It is refreshing to see these both of them actually excited about this baby, this unplanned baby. Did she get pregnant on the honeymoon? Was this a honeymoon baby? Do you think she got pregnant on the honeymoon? Because I think they said she was like, what, 6 weeks along or somewhere around there. And they've been together for about 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks, I think. Did she get pregnant in Panama? Wow. So I'm glad that they're both excited about this. I just love to see Derek, like how he's really pumped about being a dad and really excited about the baby. And I know that she is as well. He just expresses himself a lot better than her. But she's also, you can tell that she's excited. So they babysit some friends' kids to see whether or not they actually would like children. And thank God they do. And there was 3 kids that they had to watch. And so Derek was asking Megan when the kids left, he was like, so, okay, 3 kids, I know there was a lot, but it was a lot of fun too. And she was like, yeah, I gotta admit, it was fun taking care of 3 kids. It was a lot. But they're like their own little army. And so I guess she's open to having more than one child because she's really adamant about only having 1 kid. But I guess she's open to having more than one after babysitting the 3 boys. What else is there to talk about? I wonder if they say yes on decision day. If they both say yes on decision day, I wonder if Megan will always wonder if Derek said yes only because she was pregnant. And if she wasn't pregnant, would his answer have been something different? That's what I'm that's what went through my head when I was watching them. Let's talk about Jaylen and Josh because I'm really trying to avoid talking about Pat and Rhonda. Jaylen and Josh are hanging out with friends, and one of their friends asks them, so what do y'all like to do together? And it was just crickets, like literally crickets. And it took them a long time to answer. Like, what do y'all like to do together? What do y'all have in common? What activities do you enjoy together? They asked that question in so many different ways and they couldn't answer. And so finally, Josh was like, well, we both like music, even though it's different types of music. And she goes, well, I like to go to the lake. And he, of course, likes to go to festivals. You know, the word festival is like turning into a dirty word for Jaylen. It's like a curse word to her because it just conjures up so much negativity. So, yeah, they have nothing in common because this guy just won't let go of festivals. Like that's the only thing he wants to do. That's his only idea of fun is to go to Burning Man. But Burning Man, isn't it like once a year? So like what else do you do when you're not at Burning Man, Josh? Can't you think of anything else? Or does he dedicate the whole entire year preparing for Burning Man and getting excited about Burning Man? Is it Burning Man or Running Man? Whatever the hell it is. Moving on to Pat and Rhonda. So they're at Rhonda's house because remember they didn't go to the retreat with everybody else because Rhonda was having a family reunion or something. So they're at Rhonda's house. They're having lunch with the grandkids and stuff. And so when the kids leave, Rhonda, of course, now has to completely critique and tear apart Pat because that's what she does best. She doesn't know how to do anything else other than to pick apart everything he says and does that pissed her off. So she brings up something that he did that made her unhappy, which was a whole ticket thing. He bought some tickets. I don't know if it was plane tickets or tickets for an event. I don't know what it was, but he bought some damn tickets for something. And he didn't check with her as far as her availability for this particular event that he bought the tickets for. So that pissed her off. Like, why didn't you check with me? Why didn't you ask me what dates I had available? And he was like, well, I should have coordinated it better. And then she didn't like the fact that he used the word coordinate. She wanted him to use the word invite. Because when he said, I should have coordinated it better, she says, coordinated, not invited. So then Rhonda brings up how he walked away when she talked about sharing calendars because they were at the store. And because of the fact that he didn't check with her about her availability before he bought the ticket, she then had brought up to him, well, we need to share our calendar so you can see what's open for me. And she claims he walked away. He just walked away, didn't say anything, didn't acknowledge what she just said about the calendars. So he walked away and that pissed her off. And he claims, I did acknowledge you when you said that. Who the hell knows? I would not have been mad if Pat did not acknowledge. I would not have been mad if Pat simply just turned around and walked away in the middle of her sentence. I would not be mad about that at all because Rhonda is exhausting. She's so exhausting. She's treating her marriage like it's a business or something or a company. And she's like the CEO or the manager. And he's just an employee. So Rhonda goes, well, she says, it's like what I'm saying doesn't even matter to you. It doesn't matter one flipping bit. No, Rhonda, it doesn't. We're tired. Rhonda, we are exhausted with you. It doesn't matter anymore what you're saying and we're talking about or what you're on. We don't care anymore. Now, at that moment, when the man walked away, when she was talking about sharing calendars, why didn't she say something right then and there? Why didn't she say, hey, where the hell are you going? I'm talking. Like, why didn't she say something right then and there? Why is she waiting days later to bring it up? Rhonda has sucked the life out of this man and not in a good way. Okay. She has left, he's just a shell of what he used to be. I remember him in the very beginning. He was peppy, he was fun, he was excited. She just completely has drained him of all life. He's just walking around like he's just been, I don't know, struck dumb or something. He's just a shadow of who he used to be. Okay, a shadow of who he used to be. This man has no life. This man has no soul. He's afraid to speak his mind because whatever he says, she's going to chop it up and critique it. He can't be himself. He can't be comfortable. He talks about walking around in eggshells around her. She has completely destroyed this man. And it's like, no wonder you haven't lived with anybody other than your own children for the past 20 years, Rhonda. So he meets up with an old friend. Well, they're both supposed to meet up with one of his old friends, but he ends up showing up first, and Rhonda's going to be joining them a little bit later. So while he's talking to his friend, he talks about how he has to walk around eggshells. He talks about how their communication is like a hit and miss. They're not communicating very well. And then Rhonda comes in to join them to talk about their communication issues. Rhonda brings up how whenever she's talking about something very deep and profound, Pat doesn't acknowledge it. So she brings up the example once again. When they were at the festival, the song was playing. It really affected her. It was very emotional because the song reminded her of some point in her life when she was going through some tough things. She's explaining this to Pat, what this song means to her. And Pat says, oh, well, the song means something different to me. Then he goes on to explain what the song means to him. So in Pat's world, they're talking about the song and what it means to them. In Rhonda's world, she's opening up her soul, laying her guts out to be exposed for the whole world. And she needs him to acknowledge this, that she's tearing her heart out. She's exposing all of herself to him. This traumatic experience and how this song saved her life. But to him, it's like, oh, we're just talking about a song. Well, let me tell you what the song means to me. You know what I'm saying? Their communication is off, completely off. Another thing is, I have to admit, as much as I can't stand Rhonda, Pat is not a good listener. He's not a good listener because He tries. There are moments when he tries, but heaven forbid he asks a question. She gets upset if it's something that she's already mentioned. For example, when she talked about my dad died 44 years ago, and he asked the question, "When did your dad die again?" And she got upset with that. So he's not really a good listener. There, to have a conversation, there's an art to it. There's an art to having a conversation. You know, a lot of the times people, and I've noticed this when I observe people talk at each other, not to each other or with each other. People don't conversate. They just are talking at each other. Like someone will say, "Oh my God, I got into a horrible fender bender this weekend." Then the listener would say, "Oh, let me tell you about my fender bender from 20 years ago." That's not having a conversation. So when someone says, "I had a horrible fender bender," the listener should say, "Oh my God, what happened? Where were you when this happened? How bad was it? Were you hurt? What happened afterwards? Whose fault was it?" You kind of have to like indulge that person for a little while. And then you can bring up your own fender bender history from 20 years ago. To me, that's conversating. But a lot of people, one person will say something and the other person will say, "Well, let me tell you what happened to me." And it's like, it's not, there's no layers to this. It's not building. We're building two separate cakes. We're not coming together, adding layer upon layer upon layer of the same cake. And I think that's the issue with Rhonda and Pat. Pat is not really a good listener. You know, she talks about these things which are very important to her, which he needs to figure out that these things are important to her. And he needs to do follow-up questions. And then once she's satisfied and feels like you've shown enough interest, then you can bring up your own story and how it relates to what she just said. So when she brought up the whole song issue and how Pat completely overlooked how she was bearing her soul, the friend looked at Pat and said, "Well, that was really stupid of you, Pat. That was a very stupid move." Rhonda gets up and walks away from the table. So she goes to the bathroom. One of the producers follow her. They ask her what's wrong. And Rhonda says, "What I've been trying to get Pat to understand for weeks, his friend got it in seconds." Well, because the friend knew that you were upset about it. Because you're telling the friend, "This is what he did that pissed me off." And so the friend is just reacting to that. You know what I mean? At the moment when you and Pat were talking about the song, Pat had no idea that you were upset because number one, you didn't tell him. You told him about what the song means to you. He talks about what it means to him. And then you just stood there. And then after a few minutes, you left. You didn't tell him, "It's really upsetting me that I'm sharing something with you and you're not getting it." She didn't do that. So don't give the friend kudos because he picked up on the fact that you were pissed. You're relaying the story in a way that's going to be in the most favorable light to you. Like, I'm sharing something so intimate, something so traumatic to him, and he just completely ignored it. Anybody would have been like, "Pat, you idiot. How could you?" Anybody would do that because based on how you're telling the story. But in the moment when it happened, it wasn't like that. You never told Pat that you were upset. You just walked away, like the way he walked away when you talked about sharing calendars. So she says, "Everything that's happened so far just leads me to believe that he doesn't care about me. He doesn't care." And Pat was like, "That's not true, Rhonda. Obviously he cares about her. Their communication is just off." And Pat's an old guy, you know? Just tell him. Anyway, so the friend tells Pat, "Just be yourself. You know, you're bringing too much to the table. Just be yourself. Just be yourself, Pat. Just be yourself." And Rhonda says the same thing. "Yeah, Pat, just be yourself." Well, when he is himself, like when he wants to walk away from you, you get upset. When he is himself and tells you what the song means to him, you get upset. When he is himself and asks you, "How long has your dad been dead?" you get upset. So what are you talking about? Just be yourself, Pat. Anyways, I'm through. I'm done. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.